I was forced to install a new audio system. Yay. Let's talk about it. What's going on, you misfits? My name is Ren. Welcome back to the channel once again, and today we're going to be talking about PipeWire, the audio system that's the new kid in town in Linux audio, and why you may want to use it or why not, or mainly just what I've experienced with it over the past 2 days, which has been not the greatest first impression ever. It's been a little bad, but hey, I have it set up now. It's actually kind of cool, and let's talk about it. This is a completely off the cusp video. I didn't have video recorded because I had to reinstall my audio system, so that took a while. It's been 2 days doing that, and my cat is running around like a maniac. Cool. So to kick things off, what is PipeWire? PipeWire is an audio subsystem for Linux that is meant to eventually at some point replace the current one, which is Pulse Audio, which is built on top of ALSA, which is the actual audio system that's used, and all the other stuff just interfaces with it, except PipeWire kind of doesn't, but it does. It's weird. It's very confused. There's no way for me to dumb this down because I don't fully understand it. It's the audio system you interact with, and it's going to replace the current one you interact with, which is called Pulse Audio, which is fine for most people. For most people, Pulse Audio is perfectly fine, but for more advanced users, they start running into problems. For example, music production or streaming. You can get away with streaming on Pulse Audio. It's just not the best experience. The system we've been using before this was called Jack, which gave you a lot more of those advanced options, but it was a little bit of a pain to set up sometimes, depending on your distribution, depending on what you had installed, and finding a way to interact with it. You had to use a bunch of different third-party applications. Not third-party, but just different applications, because Linux, that's how it works. Little annoying, but it works. And Jack is really cool. I really liked it. I used it for years. My cat just ran up on my tree and then jumped back down. This cat is just all over the place today. Why are you like this as soon as I start recording? But Jack is great. There's a lot of really cool stuff, and I really liked it. I used it for a bunch of different setups. However, I recently updated Pop! OS to 20.10, and Jack just stopped working. I don't know if it's just because of the program I was using to control it, which is Studio Controls, Ubuntu Studio Controls. It's the same thing, but it's the non-Ubuntu variant, because the Ubuntu Studio Controls version is meant for the distribution of Ubuntu Studios, and then they've got a version that's meant for everything else Ubuntu based, just called Studio Controls, and that's what I was using. But that just stopped working. I could kind of get it to work with QJack CTL, but I'm not great with that program, and I'm still not entirely sure it was fully working, because like the way Jack works is I would make a bridge between Jack and Pulse Audio to actually control your devices, and those just would not show up at all. Even though they were there, I could select them in the program, but they wouldn't show up in my actual connections manager, which is Carla. So when trying to fix this for a couple hours, eventually I was convinced, hey, try out PipeWire. It's gotten a lot better now. And I was so desperate that I just said, fuck it. You know what? I'll try it. We'll see what happens. It was not easy. I will say this off the bat, PipeWire is not for an average user. If you are a newbie to Linux, you're not entirely sure what you want to do with it, you're not great at messing with config files, don't use PipeWire. At least not yet. I'm assuming that they're going to have some sort of easier way to interact with it coming down the line, but as it is right now, it's not great for new users who aren't used to messing with config files. It wasn't a great time for me, and I have messed with config files. I still had a challenging time, but let's go over to the desktop and I'll show you what it looks like. And turns out you can actually use a lot of the same programs that you used for Jack with it. So now we're over on the desktop, and I'm going to open up the program that I've been using to manage my audio connections, which is Carla. This is what I was using back with Jack. I really like this program. It's really nice, but this is it. Now, initially when you set everything up, you have a bunch of different connections. Right now, there's not so many because the sources that you can connect to show and hide depending on what applications you have open, because you can do per application specific connections, which is really cool. Basically, what all those big fancy words means is that I can take a game audio and pipe it directly into OBS so I can record the game audio without recording anything else that's happening on my desktop, while still hearing everything on my headphones that is happening on my desktop. But OBS won't hear it, which is really nice when you're streaming. This is how everything looks. The way that Carla works to manage PipeWire is that you take these little connection points. So like, for example, this is my little USB aux cable adapter. and you just drag and connect that to certain things. I'm not going to actually connect it because I don't want to plug that in, but you can drag stuff and you can connect it to whatever source you want. Typically you want to connect left to left and right to right, and it's really nice. Now the downside to PipeWire is, so Carla has all these plugins for Jack, but since Jack is broken, for me, I can't use any of them, which is kind of unfortunate. Now that being said, if I ever end up fixing Jack, Pulse Audio will work with Jack and I can use them then. I just have to figure out why Jack is broken first, which I don't know how long that's going to take, and this is working for now, so I kind of don't want to break it again trying to fix Jack. Now moving on from that, there are some other things you can do with Jack and that, not Jack, with PipeWire. I know what I'm talking about, and that is monitors. So as you can see, this program Godot is connected to my headphones. This is because this is the application that's opened. Godot projects are typically games and stuff that have an audio output, so it automatically connects to my headphones. That is one very cool thing. PipeWire seems to auto-connect stuff really, 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 really well. I am actually very impressed with it. So say, for example, I wanted to record, like if I was streaming last night and I wanted to capture the game audio from my PlayStation Vita, which is connected by a 3.5 millimeter jack auxiliary cable into my USB adapter. This also in source right now is one that I made specifically for that adapter to get its audio input. I would just literally click and drag that to both the left and right input because it's a mono input, so it doesn't really matter. And then in OBS, the game audio, which I have as its own little audio capture, I would select game as the audio source and it would record off of that headphone jack. So I can use that for anything. Say I want to record my PlayStation, I hook it up to my capture card, and my capture card just has a little line out port that I plug the aux cable into, and then I have audio. I could do it through HDMI, but I don't want to mess with the HDMI because it's a pain. It used to work and then it suddenly stopped working, and I didn't want to bother fixing it, so I just plugged in the aux cable because that was easier. PipeWire, it can do a lot of really cool stuff. Now, the reason why I say it's not for beginners, in order to get things like my Discord output and this game output right here, what I had to do is you had to either A, run a really long command, which was very confusing, or B, directly edit the configuration file, which to do that, if you're on KDE, you can't use your file browser, Dolphin, because it doesn't allow super user. If you were on like Mint or something like that, typically you can open your file browser and you can like go to wherever you need to go. So I'm going to go back to, I believe it was in etc. Yeah, and you could right click and then there'd be an option to open a super user. And then you can copy and click and drag stuff to copy it. For this, I believe I needed to go to this one called PipeWire. Yes, PipeWire, media session D. Nope, that's not it. No, it's in config. By the way, I had a ton of different people from a bunch of different Discord servers helping me out. Shout outs to all of them. The Linux for Everyone Discord server, Nix, the Linux Experiment Discord server, some people on Brody's server helped me out, Brody Robertson, who I've played some games with on Twitch, and you should check him out as well. And also my own Discord server, which you can join, link down in the description. And also Unfa's server. Lots of people from all of those servers helped me out over the course of 2 days, helping me figure out and getting this working. And I appreciate each and every person. I can't list out every single person who helped me individually. Unfortunately, there was like 12 different people who helped me, and I can't remember all their usernames, but you know who you were. I have the same username on Discord. You helped me out. Thank you very much. I appreciate you so much. But anyway, moving on. This wouldn't work in the Dolphin config. You had to use the terminal. So actually, if I go through all my, here it is, user/share/PipeWire, and I listed out, I needed this pipewire.config file. So what you would have to do, let me make my terminal a little bigger. There we go. So you can see it's pipewire.config. I would have to, if I go back up to that location, nope, that's not it. Oh, these were all installing other things that I needed. I had to copy that config file to this. So it's home/username, which is what the little squiggly line stands for, /.config/pipewire. Initially, that location didn't exist, so I had to make directory, then copy it over. I want to copy it, not move it, copy it. And then you'd open it in Kate. So now if I go back over to Dolphin and actually go to that location, so if I go to .config, wait, there it is. And then I go down to PipeWire. There it is. I couldn't see it for a second. Pipewire.config. and I'm going to open it in Kate. So here's where things got very confusing very quickly. To make new entry points, after this line, on line 196, you needed to hit enter to make a space, and you needed to type out exactly this line of code down to there. That is not something that I would consider user-friendly or easy in the slightest. This is a very advanced system. I was very uncomfortable doing this. If I didn't have one of my Discord members talking me through it, I would have given up. No joke. But essentially, the upside is that once you have this written out, you can copy and paste this however many times you need to make as many output devices as you need. You just need to change the game section right here where it says mode name. You change what it's called. So instead of game, I have a segment called Discord out, which is my Discord output for if I'm recording a Discord call and I want it separate from the rest of my audio. Copy this whole little block of text and then paste it on a new line. You just want to make sure that right here where this line right here, it wanted to be above this line and below this line, the little closed curly bracket. As long as you make sure it's in between those, you can paste as many as you need. On a fresh, unused config file, it will be line 195 or 196 that you'll be putting your initial space at. If you have edited the config file, that number might be different, but that is how I had to add new output sources. It was a major pain. It is not something I would consider easy, even though it was described to me as like, oh, you just edit a config file. Unfortunately for the majority of users, there's nothing just edit a config file. That was phrased very poorly, but I'm going to stand by it. There is no just edit a config file. It's not that simple. Now, if you want to make one of these be an audio output device, so like a virtual microphone, you would change what this is, where it says audio/sync. You would change what that is. I forget what it's supposed to be. I was told what it was and I forgot, but that's all you do. You just change what it says. Instead of audio/sync, you change it to something else, something that says like input or something, if I'm remembering right. I may have it linked below. Actually, I may put a link to a Pastebin with this exact thing pasted, or a generic version of these in it for an input and an output, so you can just copy and paste this into your config file to make it super easy for you. But that is how you had to add virtual devices. Now, I only needed 2. You may need more. Yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to save this. I'm not going to save that. I don't need all this. But that is how it works. Now, the one drawback to PipeWire is that every device you have gets its input, its output, and then a monitor of its input and a monitor of its output, which is useful, but it makes this very cluttered very quickly. So I actually have hidden a lot of devices. So like if I open my volume control, you can see these pop up. Oh God. Like if I go to, the settings, nope, not that button. Configure audio devices. And I move that over to here. You can see all my audio, they disappeared. If I close that, yeah, they're all over the place. If I open that, it pops up and there's all these connections. It gets very messy very quickly. I'm not crazy about that. Maybe there's a better interface I can use instead of Carla. Carla's just the one I'm most familiar with, and if I get Jack working again, I know how to do the plugins and stuff and control them on the rack. That's a quick little brief introduction to PipeWire. That is what I've been doing for the past 2 days. It's been an absolute nightmare to get it working. Again, shout out to everyone who helped me out in all of those servers I mentioned before. I'll have probably the channels linked, so I'll have like Linux for Everyone, Brody Robertson, Linux Experiment, and Oomfa servers, Oomfa's YouTube channels, all linked down below. You should check them out. They are great, fantastic Linux content creators. I take a lot of inspiration from them. My videos are not as well planned out as theirs because I do a lot of off the cusp videos because I am busy all the time and cannot write scripts. But I hope you all had a nice time. I hope this wasn't too disconjointed and all over the place. And thank you guys so much for watching. And hey, if you like the video, make sure you click like, hit subscribe, make sure you get notified by clicking the bell. And if you want to see me do stuff like this live over on twitch.tv/itsregret, I play games on Linux. We're starting a weekly community night over there on Sundays. And I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you there. Again, Discord link down below if you want to come chat with all of us and talk about weird nerd stuff and anime. I will see you all next time. Peace out.